If you want to become the best striker in the world, what seems like a common requirement is that you're built like an absolute unit. Think Cristiano Ronaldo, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Erling Haaland. But a certain kid from Liverpool came and defied all those odds to become one of the best strikers England has ever produced. No, scratch that. This kid became one of the greatest players in England's history, breaking records, winning trophies, and proving to be one of the most technically gifted players in the history of British football. This is the story of how a fat Scouser became a football legend. You know Wayne Rooney as a Manchester United legend, but he was born in the land of the enemies, Liverpool. How then did he grow to become one of United's biggest legends? You see, Rooney grew up as an Everton fan, and at the age of 9, he joined the club after being spotted by a scout. When he was 11 years old, he was a mascot at the Merseyside derby. So you could say that he'd learned to hate Liverpool right from when he was a kid. Rooney quickly became one of the most prodigious talents in the country. At 15, he was already playing for Everton's under-19s, and at 16, he helped the club reach the FA Youth Cup final. He scored in that final and revealed a shirt that said, "Once a blue, always a blue." But just 2 years later, the kid turned red. How did that happen? Well, in 2002, Rooney broke into the Everton first team. He made his senior team debut in August, starting the first game of the 2002-2003 season against Spurs and assisting a goal. He would then go on to become a vital part of the squad that season, making 33 Premier League appearances in his first professional season and scoring 6 goals. Although he was just a kid, he didn't take time to show how much of a big game player he was. 5 days before he turned 17, he scored a last-minute winner against Arsenal, which ended the Gunners' 30-game unbeaten run. That goal made him the youngest goalscorer in Premier League history at the time. And that wasn't even the only record he broke that season. He broke more, also becoming Everton's youngest ever goalscorer and the second youngest player in their history. The following season, he got even better. He had 11 goal contributions in 34 Premier League appearances, and much bigger clubs started to snoop. To keep him, Everton offered him a new contract, the best that ever offered a player at the time. Bear in mind that Rooney was only 18. Yes, that's how good he was. Although the improved contract was enticing, it just wasn't enough to keep Wazza. Newcastle and Manchester United wanted him, but it was United who ended up signing him for £27 million, making him the most expensive teenager at the time. Ferguson admitted that the transfer fee for a player that age raised eyebrows. I mean, that was a higher fee than United paid for Cristiano Ronaldo the previous season. So, questions were being asked, was this gamble going to pay off? Rooney gave an emphatic answer to that question in his very first game in a Manchester United shirt. He made his debut in the UEFA Champions League against Fenerbahce, and he scored not 1, not 2, but 3 goals. Yes, this kid casually scored a hat-trick on his debut while also producing an assist. It was that game that announced him to the world. Everyone started to pay attention to Wayne Rooney. It was obvious that this kid meant business. He ended that season with 17 goals, most of them coming in big games. He scored against City, Arsenal and Liverpool, and even scored 3 against Newcastle that season. He was still a kid, but he was already terrorizing defenses all over the country, and that was just the beginning. Halfway into the 2004-2005 season, Rooney won the second ever Golden Boy Award, winning it before Lionel Messi. Again, that's just how good he was. And he continued to get better. At the end of that season, he was United's top scorer and was then named PFA Young Player of the Year, an award he would end up retaining the following season. His first trophy as a professional footballer came in the 2005-2006 season, when he helped United win the EFL Cup, scoring a brace in the final. He was one of the youngest players in the squad, but he was already one of the most important. That year, he was named PFA Fans Player of the Year at just 20 years of age. In the 2006-2007 season, he had 26 goal contributions in 35 appearances, which helped United win the Premier League title, the first of many for him. It was this season that he endeared himself to the United faithful. He seemed to have pledged his allegiance to Manchester United after he kissed the badge in celebration of his late goal against his boyhood club, Everton. With that, he seemed to tell the United fans, "I'm one of you." And they loved him for it. With all that anticipation from the previous season, the 2007-2008 season was supposed to be his year. He was even given the number 10 jersey, and a lot of eyes were on him going into that campaign. But the craziest thing happened to him on the first day of the season. We'll tell you in a second, but if you're enjoying the video so far, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to show your support. Now, here's what happened to Rooney. He fractured a bone in his left foot, and it was a little worrying because it was the same injury he suffered 3 years prior. But thankfully, it turned out not to be anything too crazy. He was out for 6 weeks, and when he came back, he scored the only goal in the Champions League game against Roma. He finished that season with 32 goal contributions and helped United win the double of the Champions League and Premier League. The following season, he became the youngest player to reach 200 appearances in Premier League history and went on to help United win their 3rd straight Premier League title, while also reaching the Champions League final for the 2nd time in a row. Unfortunately, they lost the final to Barcelona. That summer, Cristiano Ronaldo moved to Real Madrid, leaving the bulk of attacking responsibilities to Rooney. And he was certainly ready. He showed how ready he was by turning up and upping his performance in front of goal. This became Rooney's highest scoring season, as he scored 34 goals in 44 appearances in all competitions. This season, he scored 4 goals in the round of 16 of the Champions League against AC Milan. 2 of those goals came in the away game to give United their first ever victory over Milan at the San Siro. He was truly the main man now. Despite all his goals, he was only able to lead the club to EFL Cup success. They missed out on the league by just 1 point and were knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Although narrowly missing out on the title, Rooney was named Premier League Player of the Year, FWA Footballer of the Year, as well as PFA Players and Fans Player of the Year. You could say that Wayne Rooney peaked that season. However, because of the drop in performances in the 2009-10 season, after losing key players like Ronaldo and Tevez, Rooney handed in a transfer request. He wanted to leave because he thought the club had fallen off and wanted to go elsewhere, and that broke his relationship with the coach. It didn't matter that he ended up staying. The fact that he handed in a request left a bitter taste in Ferguson's mouth. Rooney himself confessed that their relationship was never the same after that incident. Anyway, Rooney remained at United, and in the 2010-11 season, he was able to take United back to the top. He helped them win the Premier League and reach the final of the Champions League. But despite Rooney's brilliant goal in the final, United ended up losing again to Barcelona. Wazza would end up leading United to another Premier League title in 2013, but that was his last. That summer, Sir Alex Ferguson left the club. And with the boss gone, many thought Rooney would leave as well. He was linked with Chelsea, Arsenal, PSG, and even Real Madrid that summer. But the new coach David Moyes insisted that Rooney was not for sale, and the Englishman ended up staying at Old Trafford. But he probably wished he left, because the 2013-14 season was the worst one yet in a United shirt. In 2014, following the exit of Vidic from the club, Rooney was named captain. And in his 2nd season as captain, he led them to FA Cup success. He would end up captaining Man United to EFL Cup and Europa League successes, before leaving in 2017 to return to his boyhood club for one last time. He spent just 1 year on his return to Merseyside, scoring 10 league goals to take his total Premier League tally to 208. putting him in third in the Premier League all-time top scorers chart. Right now, Rooney is the only player who sits in the top 5 for both all-time goals and all-time assists in Premier League history. He's also the only player with over 200 goals and over 100 assists in Premier League history. He also left Manchester United as the club's all-time top scorer, which puts him up there as one of the greatest players and one of the most important figures in the club's history. He's also one of the greatest players in the history of the England national team, currently sitting at number 2 in the list of all-time top scorers. But with this guy, it was not just about the numbers. He was also very entertaining, very technical, and very versatile. In his prime, he played mainly as a centre forward and a second striker, but as he grew older and became a lot less athletic, he started to drop deeper and play more as an attacking and even a central midfielder. But even a fat Rooney playing in the MLS was still very dangerous. He went there in his mid-30s and was still able to produce 39 goal contributions in 52 appearances for DC United. Because of his natural talent and technical superiority, you could put Wayne Rooney anywhere on the pitch, and he would do a great job. But of course, the closer he was to the opponent's goal, the more dangerous he was. The guy was a natural scorer, and despite being 5'9" and not built like the typical striker, he was able to score all types of goals. Tap-ins, headers, curlers, set pieces, long-range belters, acrobatic finishes, weak foot shots, whatever you wanted, Rooney would give it to you. Of course, the debate will continue to go on about who the greatest striker the Premier League has ever seen is, and you can always have your preference. But one thing is for sure, Rooney's name will always come up. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of his generation, and almost certainly the most creative centre-forward the Premier League has ever seen. No wonder he was the second striker behind Alan Shearer to be inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. And yes, Cristiano Ronaldo won a Ballon d'Or while playing for Manchester United. But when you look at what he did for the club, and how long he was there, you just have to say that Wayne Rooney is a bigger Manchester United legend than Cristiano Ronaldo. You won't be crazy to say that he's arguably the greatest player in the club's history. Do you agree with that sentiment though? Is Rooney Manchester United's greatest ever player? Where does he fall in your list of greatest Premier League players ever? Get in the comments and let us know. But while you debate who the greatest player in Manchester United's history is, if you want to find out all about this club and its history, click on this link and we'll tell you everything you want to know.